Hey guys, I just watched the raddest anime trilogy I've ever seen. It was called the Berserk Golden Age arc, and it was the Berserk Golden Age arc trilogy, or I don't know, just search for Berserk trilogy and you can find it. I'll include some links below to places you can buy it. It comes out to like $12 for the whole trilogy, or $10 for the trilogy, $4 an episode. Super worth it. Other than maybe the Dragon Ball Z movies / Dragon Ball Super movies, however you want to think about it, Resurrection F and Battle of the Gods, these were definitely the best anime movies I think I've seen in the last 10 years. I just want to say that they are very adult. So if you're a child, make sure you get permission from your parents to watch this. And if you are a parent, do not even mention this series to your children. It is not kid-friendly. There's lots of sex. Of course there's violence, but there's violence and then there's sex, and then there's violence and sex at the same time. And then there's more sex, people getting their heads cut off, people cutting off their own arms, that type of thing. So, and then there's sex. So it's not for the kids. This is an adult show. It's an adult anime, so keep it for the adults, but it was pretty phenomenal. I actually was initially introduced to Berserk through Emergency Awesome, which is a very popular YouTube channel. I'll leave a link to that below. And Emergency Awesome actually was recommending to watch it, and it was ironic because Emergency Awesome is not really like an anime channel, but I was like, okay, well, I love that Emergency Awesome channel, and I love all his reviews and all the stuff that he likes, minus Doctor Who. I've been a big Doctor Who fan. But anyway, I watched Berserk, and I loved it from the very start. I want to talk about the show a little bit, and I recommend highly watching the trilogy before watching the show. I actually watched the trilogy, and I've gone back and started watching the show over again, because the trilogy really fills in the backstory for the show. Originally, the trilogy was actually a whole series, which was I don't know how many, like 100 plus episodes, or like 200, a lot. There was a lot of episodes, okay guys? And they managed to condense the main kind of idea in all those episodes into a trilogy. I'm really surprised that more people aren't talking about this trilogy, or at least I'm not really seeing it. So I highly recommend this trilogy. And then after you watch the trilogy, if you liked it, then you can go on Crunchyroll and watch the actual Berserk show. They're on their second season. They're almost all the way through their second season. So that's a lot of content if you're looking for something to watch. The show is just as violent as the movie, but the movie has a little bit more sex and kind of body parts. For example, the anime series, which occurs after the trilogy, is they don't actually show nipples. They have nudity, but somehow the women magically don't have nipples. Or in the trilogy, it's they're all anatomically accurate. It's basically on par with a rated R movie, where I would say the TV show might be rated R. I don't know, I'm not a rater, but it's the show's a little bit more mellow when it comes to sex, but it's equally violent. But the thing is the violence in the trilogy is real. It's real people. I mean, it's animation, but it's violence of people killing people. And the show is much more killing demons and supernatural creatures. So because of that, the violence doesn't seem as intense, but when you're dealing with killing actual people, a lot of blood is a lot more effective. Cutting off a demon's head, it's less intense to me than cutting off a human's head. Another thing about the trilogy is it connects fluently into the television show. Literally the same characters are there. They actually kind of Easter egg some of the characters. So you can tell that this anime had a lot of thought put into it. It was very thoughtful, and there'll be parts where they'll just kind of passively like glance and see another character. And in the intro, they actually have some of those main characters in the intros of the trilogy that don't even appear until the TV show. So, I highly recommend the trilogy. Next, going into the TV show, I'm going to talk about the first season. It was very much like a lonely warrior story, where you have this lonely warrior who's off on a quest. And that was actually really cool because you get to see into Guts, who's the main character. You get to see into Guts' psyche a lot, and you get to see what he's thinking and how he's dealing with all the trauma that he had that occurred during the trilogy. But when we're on the second season, actually it kind of changes subgenres a little bit, and it turns into like this like party type fantasy, meaning like a party, like a group of people on a quest. And it's more like a traditional RPG where you have like this group. There's like a mage, a thief, a fencer, like a paladin, a dark knight. And I don't want to spoil the movie, but there's a crazy person. Anyway, I highly recommend checking out the trilogy, and hopefully you like the trilogy. And if you like the trilogy, I highly recommend watching the show. You can go ahead and subscribe on Crunchyroll. I'll leave my affiliate link below if you want to support me. And thanks a lot, guys. I really appreciate everything. Goodbye.